We went to a Tool concert last year on Valentine's Day, which was very romantic.
That's kind of romantic.
Tool concert. I'm guessing that's a band.
Yeah, it's like
heard of them.
No, it's a bunch of hammers.
It's like
that are just
progressive
going
metal.
on.
It was like
Okay.
it was at the crypto arena, which was kind of weird.
It sounds like it would be aggressive metal.
I went to an All J concert at the crypto arena, and I was 100% sober, and that 100% was the wrong thing to do.
A few years ago, I went to the Fall Out Boy concert at BMO Stadium.
Oh, that sounds great.
I bought tickets like day of. They were total with all fees and everything. It was $16.
Wow, 16?
$16.
Was this 1942?
No,
Why was it so cheap?
because I bought them day of. So people were trying to get rid of them. On this episode of Sips and Clips, we're joined by USC grad and assistant editor Marie Lessel, whose journey from Denmark to Los Angeles has shaped her unique perspective on the editing world. We dive into the cultural contrast between European and American cutting rooms, the ins and outs of securing a US work visa in the industry, and her thrilling short film, The Things We Keep, which premiered at Sundance this year. So grab your caramel brulée latte, settle in, and join us for a conversation packed with insights and excitement on this must-listen episode of Sips and Clips.
But speaking of the Coliseum and speaking of USC, today on the pod, we have our own Trojan at the table.
What a great segue. What a great segue over here.
great one.
Welcome to Sips and Clips. My name is Michael Schusterman.
And I am Leanne McFalls.
And today on the pod we have...
Marie Lessel.
Marie, what are you sipping on?
I am sipping on a peppermint mocha latte from Starbucks. Yeah, every time it's like Christmas time and they have their peppermint stuff back, I get really excited, and everyone thinks I'm crazy because everyone hates peppermint drinks.
No, you're like Michael's pumpkin spice.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, how many did you have this season?
You know what? I cut down. I had a lot of PSLs. I think I had like 12 or 13 PSLs over the course of the season.
Jeez.
But honestly, it's pretty low for me because I started drinking what I'm drinking currently, which is a caramel brulee latte from Starbucks. But I get my caramel brulee latte with just one pump of caramel syrup, as opposed to I get no whipped cream, no topping, and then just one pump of caramel syrup. You end up saying like a 1,000 words to order this one drink, but it's really good. It's what I probably had like another 13 of these over the holiday season.
The thing that really baffles me, though, is that you say you have like 12 or 13 of these, and I'm like, how much are you working in order to afford 12 or 13 Starbucks drinks?
Get off.
Where is the money? Where is this money coming from? Are you just like waiting in money and you're just like, it goes all the way out to Starbucks, all to Starbucks?
I don't have many crippling addictions in my life. Starbucks, unfortunately. Yeah, it's bad. Sometimes you go in the back of my car and you'll see a bunch of like of those, the wrappers for the food.
But their food is so bad.
The food is good.
I always get a bacon Gouda egg sandwich.
What do you mean it's bad?
Okay, I also don't really like cheese, so like I can't eat half the stuff.
I always want the sandwich, but then lately, being like I'm on a budget, I look at the price and I'm like, $5 for a little 1x1 sandwich. I can't do it. Maybe when I'm rolling in the dough like Michael is, I can spend $5 on a sandwich.
Yeah, I'm more peak millennial right now than you. I'm having my avocado toast and eating my Starbucks and getting yelled at for.
This is millennial? I thought this was more Gen Z.
Avocado toast and spending money at Starbucks is 100% a millennial thing.
I'm on the beginning, I think. I don't know. I'm 94.
That's millennial.
Yes, but I do not partake in this avocado Starbucks that you speak of. And that would make you a Gen Z, which means that Gen Z people...
I am a Gen Z.
Gen Z people are way more avocado toast.
No, I'm just a very millennial coded Gen Zer.
We're going to take a poll. People, our first poll of the show. If you think that having avocado toast in Starbucks is millennial or Gen Z, please put your comments
100%.
in below. Going back off of Michael's creme brulee latte, I am drinking an iced creme brulee latte, but it is...
caramel brulee. It's not creme brulee.
I'm sorry. You're right. An iced caramel brulee latte, but I did not make any adjustments. that Michael made. I had it as it should be, which is how Starbucks makes it with no adjustments necessary.
But we have Marie on today to talk about, Marie and I worked together, or we did work together at Michael Mann. While we were at Michael Mann, I used to grill Marie about a million different questions because I found her life very interesting. So I brought her onto the pod to share her experience with the world, I guess.
So Marie, why don't you give us a rundown of your life? Tell us how you got into film, how you got to kind of where you're at. Just how you guys started the business and what drew you to the industry.
Yeah. Well, I am living in LA now, but I'm from Denmark, Copenhagen mostly. I grew up outside of Copenhagen, but nobody knows anything about where anything is in Denmark. So that's a good reference.
You can shout out your hometown.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm not like that tied to it. It's fine.
How long were you living in Denmark until you made the move?
I moved here in 2020. So
very recent.
But I was an exchange student twice before I came to, so I went to USC for as a grad student and was there for 3 years. And before that, I had already been an exchange student twice in Austin, Texas, and right outside of, yeah. And then it was just for 6 months. It was part of my undergrad. I went to University of Copenhagen for undergrad, and I could take a semester abroad. And I was like, yes, please.
So prior to you moving to the United States, how much time had you spent in the U.S. in total?
I guess a year and 8 months or something put together.
Almost 2 years.
Yeah, a year and a half or almost 2 years. I was outside of Albuquerque, New Mexico. I was an exchange student when I turned 16 while I was there. And I was there for 10 months, which was fun. Very scary at first, but I'm still...
You get used to it.
Yeah. I live with a host family and all that. And so I'm still very close with them, which is really cool.
You're what is a mile?
Oh my God.
Feet, inches. What when you were here as an exchange student, what were you studying film or were you just kind of out here just I guess I don't really know what the
so you're living you grew up in right outside of Copenhagen.
Yeah. An hour.
What got you into film? What got you interested in movies in the general? And then I know you started your career in Denmark, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just walk us through your whole journey here.
I didn't really, growing up, I thought I was I wanted to be an actor, and then I wanted to be a lawyer because I watched a lot of Ally McBeal. Okay. And then I realized that was
you were going to say I watched a lot of Law and Order, and I was am I'm going to be.
But then I realized they were all actors, and I was so I guess being a lawyer is probably not as fun as they make it
being an actor.
And then I became a teenager, and I was no way am I being in front of a camera. I became the person I am today, who's I don't want all the attention.
Yeah.
But I used to do theater and stuff growing up because I guess it's you guys have English teachers. I had a Danish teacher, and she was all into making us do a play every year. So
cool.
Were the plays in English or were they in?
No, they were in Danish.
So, but it sounds like that wasn't it wasn't a drama teacher. It was just she was just
she was just our English teacher basically.
So interesting.
But Danish.
Your Danish teacher.
Although it's funny because I say that I'm oh my God, that sounds so interesting. I'm wait, in high school we learned about Shakespeare in English class. I don't know why I thought that was. So I was whoa.
Unfortunately, I don't know many Danish playwrights off the top of my head.
I don't either.
But I grew up in this small town, and I was always I want to move to the city. I want to do something bigger. And then my sister, when I was she's 5 years older than me, so I was probably 9, when she did an exchange student thing. She went to right outside of Vegas, which was also kind of a weird place to end.
Anderson?
It was in Vegas, I think, but it was the outskirts.
What a weird place to do it. She's what, 16?
It's what family selects you. And so sometimes I chose, I did not choose New Mexico as a state I wanted to end up in, but that's where I ended up because no one else would have me. Because I think on my application, about me, I said I don't eat cheese, and everybody was we can't have this.
You crossed off the Midwest immediately. They were we don't want her.
Yeah. But when I was 15, I went to New Mexico on an exchange thing. And I had thought up until then that I wanted to do like music or something. I knew I wanted to do something creative.
Something in the arts.
And I had like started playing guitar, and then I kind of gave up because I was like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
And then while I was there, I saw Drag Me to Hell. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's a Sam Raimi movie from 2009. And it
sounds familiar.
It's very like Evil Dead, but like he got to do like a different version.
Okay, yeah.
It's like it's got like a talking goat and like calls her like a whore. Like it's very.
And you're like, I know what I want to do the rest of my life.
I was like,
This
what?
one speaks to me.
This is amazing. And I grew up watching the Spider-Man movies, so I already was like, oh, I like this guy. And then I loved Evil Dead 2. I was like, that looked like it was so much fun to make. And you could kind of see like it has a lot of flaws. So I was like, oh, it's like, it's not like a perfect movie. And it looks like that they put like their heart and soul into it. And I was like, maybe I should do that. So I started getting interested in that. And then in when I got back from New Mexico, back to Denmark, in high school, I did like film classes and stuff. And I learned how to edit on Final Cut.
7?
That was what I think 7.
Final Cut 7.
Yeah, and I was like, oh,
what year is this?
Like,
Paint a picture.
What year is this? I think it's like 2011.
Okay.
All right, I started in 2010, so.
In high school.
Yeah. So yeah, we were doing Final Cut 7, and I got pretty excited about it and was like, where should I go next?
What made you decide to, did you go to university? You went to University of Copenhagen. Did you go there for film?
Yeah, so I took a break after high school. I had absolutely nothing to do that year. I didn't have like savings to do anything big. So I just like worked part-time at a grocery store and was like trying to figure out my life. And then after that, I decided there's this film program in Denmark. There's a school called the European Film College, but it's like in a remote town in Denmark. But people from like all over the world go there, but it's like 50-50, like a lot of Danish people.
But it's like a big European film school.
Yeah, it's like a 8-month program, so it's kind of like
it's like an accreditation almost thing.
Yes, it's like a diploma that you get, but a lot of people who know people go there, and like it was just and like unlike most schools, like education in Denmark, it was not free. So I was like, I'm gonna do this because the National Film School of Denmark is like really hard to get into, and I was like, I'm holding off on that. I just want to try this film program where they like take you through everything. So I did that, met a lot of really cool people. My editing professor there, that's where I learned Avid. She went to USC, and so I got kind of hooked on the idea of one day going to USC. For financial reasons, I ended up doing my undergrad in Denmark. I went to University of Copenhagen. They have like a film and media studies program, so it was more like the academic part of film. We had like one class where we got to make stuff, and we were doing all the editing in Premiere, and like I was like, I'm used to Avid. I feel like this is a step back.
Is that a public university in Denmark? So it's free?
Yeah. And it's the
American in me is screaming.
I guess into perspective, like there is like a National Film School of Denmark, and it's kind of similar to AFI, where it's like a conservatory.
I've heard of this school. Yeah.
So I don't know if it's still the same as when I was going to apply, but it's like every discipline, like editing, takes in 6 people.
Oh, wow.
Every time they do like acceptance, and it's only every 2 years. So
Jesus.
It's like you could end up applying throughout your whole 20s and try to get in and not get in.
Jeez.
And I was just like, I'm going to take my chances at the real like AFI and USC and just see like there's honestly a better shot, even though I knew that was going to be super expensive. But I was like also kind of fell in love with like the American dream. I think when I was first in the US, my sister ended up moving to New York, where she lives now and is like working. So I was just like, I want to do that. I want to go to LA.
Have you been to New York to like visit your sister?
Yeah, I've been a couple times. I went last year for like a couple weeks just to watch her cat.
Okay, yeah.
Like it needs a lot of company when she's not in town. So.
How do you feel about New York compared to LA?
I I guess I've been here more, so I kind of prefer LA. I think in the beginning, I was like unsure about LA because it's so big and spread out, and I didn't have a license, so I couldn't drive when I first moved here, and it was like a nightmare.
So you decided to move from Denmark to the US
Yes.
because
Well, you finished your undergrad.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And then you started working.
Yes. Sorry, I keep skipping
okay.
things. Yeah, I was in undergrad that was like more academic. Got a chance to take a semester abroad for just like a elective unit, I guess. And I went to UT Austin and studied at their like radio, television, film school for a semester. I did like a web series thing, and I took like
Love Moody.
screenwriting.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I love Austin.
Yeah, Austin was like, I would move back there if it was feasible, but right now it's not.
So
but
would I.
It was a great place. It was like coming to Texas and being from like Denmark. That's like, we're basically like kind of socialist, and then
And then you're like, wow, everyone's got a gun here and a 10-gallon hat.
it was Austin, so it was a little different. It was
it's
like the more, I guess, like liberal or like
Yes.
artsy part of Texas, but still like we would get
Keep
daily,
Austin weird.
We would get like daily emails from the like campus like security or whatever of like somebody left a firearm in the women's bathroom, like
Oh my
and I'm
God.
like, what? Why are people like bringing these to school?
It's very funny. I imagine as a European coming to America and seeing our gun culture here. Every time I go to Europe and every time I'm in a taxi, I can like, I get asked regularly the moment someone I tell them I'm an American, they go, oh, and then we'll be chatting for a bit and they go, I have to ask, do you own a gun? Like I have gotten that question
Really?
like a half dozen times
Wow.
from different people in Europe whenever I
Yeah.
spend time there. Just
Oh my
you're
God.
just like, you're like, I don't own a gun, but like, yeah, I know a lot of people who own guns, and they're
Yeah.
like, you fired a gun? I'm like, yeah, I fired a gun, and it's like, that's crazy.
Oh my God. I feel like the equivalent for me is like when I talk to Uber drivers, I'm like, yeah, I'm from Denmark. And they're like, oh, what's Amsterdam like?
Yeah,
And I'm like, that's not.
you're like, it's good. It's
That's
good.
I've
It's
been.
good.
It's nice. It's in the Netherlands, but
I was there when they legalized weed. Yeah, it was good. It was a good time. Yeah.
yeah, but it's fair. I've been like, everybody thinks I'm Dutch, and I'm like, it's called
different.
Danish, but it's honestly whatever. I don't care.
So you went to Texas.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how Denmark schools work. What year, I guess, do you guys do like 4-year?
So
College?
we
Like, how does
actually
that-
only do
yeah.
3.
So what year were you in?
That was
went
my
to Texas.
final. That was actually
Okay.
my final semester. So I graduated after that. But yeah, we only do 3 years because
That'd
we
be like
kind
2017.
It was 28. It was like spring 2018.
You were in Texas.
Yeah, we just do 3 years. We kind of skip the whole general education or whatever you guys call it, where
Yeah.
you have to still do
Gen Ed.
math
General
and,
electives.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
We just go straight to like film and media studies. That's what you're gonna be. That's where you're gonna be studying.
Almost like free university and skipping the general ed is how we should be doing
Sounds
university in
amazing.
the
Yeah.
US, but
But
whatever.
that was I applied to UT for grad school, and they like, what's it called? They like disqualified me because I didn't have a 4-year like undergrad degree, and I was like,
Oh, really?
Wow.
but that's not possible. But I think I'd already gotten like waitlisted for USC at that
Okay.
point. I was like,
Okay.
whatever. Yeah, and then came home, graduated, and I was like, okay, I know I'm trying to stick to editing, because at that point I had sort of been, even before I went to Texas, I had been doing like assistant editing on some projects for the National Film School in Denmark. I was getting in there in like a different way and
Sure.
getting to know people. And then a friend of mine who I went to that film program with in Denmark called European Film College, she had been interning and doing a bunch of assistant editing, and she was working on Survivor Denmark at the time.
Oh, wow.
We call it the Robinson Expedition.
like Robinson Crusoe?
Yeah, I think so.
Are they also on a tropical island, or is it really
They
fucking
are.
cold?
They are on a It's like
Okay.
some probably, I don't even know where it is. And she had gotten another job, and so she was like trying to find a replacement. And she was like, I could just teach you like the whole workflow.
She was an assistant editor on
She was an
Survivor.
assistant
Okay.
editor. There were 2, and she was kind of the second AE. And I got the job and I started working there. It was kind of at the tail end. So I only worked there for like 2 months, I think, and I was actually editing the trailers for it. That was like
This is in Denmark still, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was doing like trailer edits and, delivery, different like QC. I was kind of learning from the other AE, all those things. And like, because before that I had only AE'd on short films and things like that. So being in like a reality TV environment was a little different, but all in Avid, thank God, because that was obviously what I was the most comfortable with at the time.
Right, yeah.
After that, the first AE was moving on to MasterChef Denmark, and he was like, they need a second person. Like, I could check if they like would want to interview you. And they did. And I got the job. And we were supposed to be both of us on MasterChef, but they ended up, it was like a big production company and they had a bunch of other shows. So they ended up like bringing him on to another show. And I ended up being like by myself on MasterChef. And I hear like over here, they have like a million AEs, but I was like the only AE on MasterChef Denmark for like a year and a half. The good thing about that was it's like MasterChef never ends. There's so many episodes. And when they're not doing regular MasterChef, they're doing like their Christmas special season.
Or MasterChef Junior.
Which they shoot in like July. So everyone, and there was like no AC in the studio. So everyone was like sweating into their like Christmas food. It was really funny.
This is my Christmas ham with my sweat and tears in it.
Truly.
Extra salt.
Truly. So I worked on that for like a year and a half, like end of 2018 to when I ended up coming to USC in 2020.
So while you're working on MasterChef, you applied to USC.
I was applying, yeah.
Why, if you're working on MasterChef, why are you like, I still need to go to grad school?
I just wanted to move to the US. I was like,
it was your way to get over to the US.
I was always like, Denmark's too small.
Yeah.
And I just went back for the first time in a long time, and it was really nice. I was like, I see what I'm missing by not being here. But also I was like, I can't wait to go back to
I guess this is post-Brexit, because I was going to say you had a European passport, so you could have gone to work in London, presumably.
Maybe. I never liked London very much.
Who does?
Really?
Some people do.
I have not been to London, so I cannot give an opinion.
I think parts of it is cool. I don't know. I always, even though people,
the American dream got you.
I feel like people are like, but Americans are fake nice. And like, I'm like, I like that. I like people being, well, I also don't think that's true, but I'm like, I like everybody being nice to me. Cause
whether or not it's fake or real, it's nice when people are nice.
I was always like a little shy growing up, and like, I just felt like anytime I'd been to the US, people were so welcoming and like want to talk to you. And in Denmark, it's like you stick to the friends you already have. So it's kind of hard to like branch out.
Yeah. So you moved to LA basically for USC grad school.
Yes.
And was that like the school out here, did it feel different from the school in Denmark? Like college-wise? Like what was, I guess wondering what it was like. Yeah.
Part of the reason, so I applied to AFI as well and actually so for USC, I was waitlisted, which basically means if you don't get in off the wait list, you just get in the following semester, which is great.
Oh, at USC?
Oh, it automatically.
Yeah. It's like I was like, wait, I needed to like confirm when I got the email. I was like, so I'm in? just like
not this semester.
Yeah.
And then I also got into AFI, which was insane. So I was like in a crisis. I was like, what do I choose?
Which one do I choose?
I did never in a million years imagine that I would like have to make that decision. So at the time, that was like in 2019 when I was applying. And so I like traveled here just to see both schools. And they were both like talking shit about each other. Like, you should go to this because USC has a bunch of scandals. And then USC was like, AFI has a bunch of scandals.
I was going to wait. What are you talking about?
I was like, I'm just looking at like the best film program, but okay.
You're like, this school could have the most scandals and do the most illegal thing, but I just want the film program.
I was going to say both of them have that.
I ended up going with USC because it's like a whole like university and not just a film school. And
I have been to AFI before, like on the campus, and it's
nice.
I've driven past it. I see it.
It is like very it's interesting because it isn't like a college.
Yeah.
It's just like a bunch of buildings on top of a hill that you like.
It kind of reminded me of like the European Film College that I went to, which was kind of like it's like a kind of a boarding school situation. So you're living there and like it's a small campus and we're all just together all the time.
USC was my number one when I was applying to undergraduate, like everybody else.
Really?
Yeah. And when I visited USC for the first time, I remember being like, I'm so absolutely in love with this campus. And then the moment I didn't get in, I was like, fuck you. I never
I've actually never been to USC.
Oh God, it's so pretty.
All right. So you get to USC and you chose it because it was just a little bit more college feel.
I also, because at AFI, like I would have just been in the editing like discipline, and I was like,
you wanted a more
I knew that I was like already doing a lot of editing, and it was very likely what I was going to stick to. But I was like, oh, at USC, I get to like spread my wings and try the other stuff. What if suddenly I like realize I love doing something else?
I did the same thing.
Didn't
in
happen.
College.
I was like editing. I like directing, but it's like not a career that I want to pursue. It's fun for like little. I mostly like doing little like comedy sketch stuff, so it's not like
I always think
I just want to be able to get a job when
I always think that if I ever wanted to get into directing, it's a pretty like easy path from editing to go to directing. So I'm always
pretty
like,
easy
well,
it's
strong.
Not pretty easy.
There's a way.
I just mean,
there's a way.
There's a decent amount. There's like editors who have made and I'm not saying like changing my entire career. I just mean like if I ever wanted to direct something, it's like, okay, I could maybe do it. The skills are I've
told that to people too. Like I've chatted with film school students. They're like, I want to be a director. And I'm like, I have told them like, you should consider getting into editing only in that like I've spent more time with very famous producers and writers just in the cutting room, just because they come to the cutting room. So if you wanted to get FaceTime with those people, like it's not a terrible thing. You get a lot of FaceTime, especially as an AE, with your director too. If it's like most shows, like you'll get a lot of FaceTime with your director. So if you want to spend a lot of time with a great director, you'll get more FaceTime with that person in a cutting room than you will in anything else, really.
True. Yeah. Like even production. I mean,
you'll get production. They're busy as hell. They're running around. People who are
like a gaffer probably does not talk too much to the director.
But assistants, even as PA, I spend a lot of time talking to directors. Yeah. You're just around them all the time. You share an office.
So you went to try to
you went to USC. How was that? That's when I met you. I met you at a Cuts and Cups.
Yes,
while you were still going
school.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, overall good. It was chaotic because I came to the US on like January 2nd, 2020. And I think that like
world collapsed.
There was like that drone strike was like a few days later.
The Iran drone strike. Oh my god.
And everybody was like,
strike. I remember that.
And everybody was like, what's going to happen? And I was like,
oh my god, I totally forgot about that.
And then obviously started school, and then like right before spring break was like COVID was like beginning to like worry people.
Right before spring break.
Yeah, I just remember very vividly like my friend who's still we like quickly became friends and now have been roommates like ever since. She had bronchitis and everybody was like, stay the fuck away from me.
Yeah, dude. March and April. What a time.
So crazy.
What a time.
It was crazy. I was like, so basically right before spring break, they told us that the week after spring break was going to be online just to test it out and see. And then we never came back to in person for the remainder of that semester, and they had to change like the whole like curriculum of like what we were going to be doing, because it was like, you can only make films in your own little bubble, and we were all supposed to make like a bunch of little short films. That it was kind of like a boot camp.
I'm sorry, I think that you did mention this, but how long were you at USC before COVID hit?
Well, it was like I guess like a month and a half.
Oh, it was right then.
Like instantly.
Okay.
I just got a taste for like being on campus, and like then it all happened. And I lived so close to I could have lived like anywhere in the world technically, but I lived so close to campus, and then going on lockdown in that area was like kind of sad, because the USC area is like
rough.
It has its charms. Like there's the historic West Adams like area there, which is kind of nice. They have like a bunch of old houses, and like some of them are really pretty, and some of them have been like turned into like a bunch of students living in these houses together, which was the first place I lived. So that was kind of cool. I lived with a bunch of undergrads, which was kind of funny. But yeah, we went into lockdown and I just had to make films like in my little bedroom by myself.
Wow.
They came up with some very creative prompts for us to like carry out. And then it was online for the next like, I think year after that. It was like my first 3 out of 6 semesters were like online, and then it became hybrid, and then it became like fully in person.
Okay. So you did eventually get to experience
Yes,
the college.
I did. Like
And
a lot of people took like leaves of absence, and I was like, I'm here on a visa. It's going to be a whole mess.
But you're on a student visa, so you can come and go as you.
Well,
as
it was
you
kind
see
of
with the student
complicated
visa.
because during COVID there was the whole like essential worker thing, and like my sister had to renew her visa she was on when she was living in New York. You have to go back to your country to go to the like embassy, and there's all this stuff. And
a certain amount of months, right?
Yeah, she basically had her visa like approved, but just had to go get the stamp. But because she wasn't an essential, she's an artist, so they weren't like, you're not essential to come to the US, so you're gonna have to wait until that. Like, so it was, I was like, I'm staying. I'm just gonna stay
Avoiding
here.
it.
Yeah.
But it, got through it. It was a lot of online education. I took a makeup class at one point, like special effects makeup, and we had to do it like on a webcam.
Oh my God.
Because I think the makeup I was doing was so bad, but he couldn't tell. But my roommate was out of town, so I couldn't do the makeup on her. So I had to buy this little like mannequin or do it on myself. And it was like a whole thing. But we found a way through all the online stuff.
So when did you graduate?
December 2022 was when I graduated. And then I didn't walk until like May. Got to do the big graduation ceremony.
Wow.
Yeah.
Got to shake like Ron Howard's hand.
Nice.
Ron Howard was at your commencement?
Yeah, it was what's the other guy? There's this guy he works with a lot. He left like not Ron Howard, he stayed, but the other guy left like halfway through the
commencement.
He was like, I'm out of here.
Oh my gosh.
I forget what his name is, Brian something. He's like super famous. I just don't remember his name.
So then after you graduated, you've stayed here ever since?
So basically once you graduate on a student visa, you can do something called OPT. Which it stands for optional practical training. And it's like a year of working in the field that you studied. So for me, I studied production at USC. So as long as it was like film production related.
Okay.
Obviously, I was going for like AE work and like anything editing related, but you get to be on that like extension for a year, basically.
Okay, cool.
And then once that's expiring, you have to figure out like if you're going to leave or if you're going to get another visa. So I was really stressed while I was on the OPT, trying to like figure out applying to my next visa and like how much experience do I need before I have enough like good stuff to put on there. And like it's a whole thing 'cause you have to apply mostly if you're trying to do editing or assistant editing, like freelance, you have to get an artist visa. It's called like an extraordinary ability visa. And
The O1 visa.
The O1B.
A lot of the people that went to Chapman were international students. So I never really met international students until I went to college, but then like half my friends were from Mexico or from Europe or from South America or all kinds of places. Basically, post college, all of them were dealing with OPT and dealing with like their work visa running out. And so I'm having conversations with all these people constantly about all of their immigration woes. It really, for one, it really makes you be like, this is so dumb. It just makes you go, this is so dumb. Like, these are brilliant filmmakers that are like, we educated you here and now the country's trying to get rid of you. That makes no sense. Like, why the hell did we educate you if you're not going to stick around and help make all the shit here? But all of them, or a few of them, had the same immigration lawyer and they were all dealing with stuff. And every time they would go in, and deal with their immigration lawyer, the immigration lawyer would be like, so how's the boyfriend girlfriend going? Like that was the first first question that they would ask, would be like, so you dating? Oh, you're dating. How's it going? It's going good. Hey, have you thought about getting engaged? Like that was the regular, like that was the immigration lawyer's recommendation, was like, we can spend all of this money to do this and do this and do this and do this. But hey, if you really like this girl, I'm just saying, like, maybe you should pop the question.
Oh my God.
I was listening to my friends go and talk to their lawyer all the time and then constantly getting drilled about why they weren't marrying their significant other.
That's so funny.
Because you just learn that it's this unbelievably complicated process. But if you can basically get a green card through marriage, it just makes it
a lot
easier.
easier.
It's still like a bit of a process.
It's still a process,
but it's definitely.
I had a friend get married, and his wife is from Mexico, and they had to go to an office and like bring their vacation photos and prove that they actually were in love, and prove that it was. You have to like prove that it's not like a sham. Like you have to prove that that
it's not a green card marriage.
It's not a green card marriage. But then when I heard you got the O1 visa, which that was crazy. Like that's such a unique thing to get.
It's definitely a process.
Yeah.
You have to have I think they made that visa for Einstein back in you have to be like an Einstein.
Oh my God.
Obviously that's like.
But it's for NBA players. It's for if you are a when they're like, you see, oh, we have this fabulous athlete and they're from Lithuania. It's like, oh, they're always on an O1. Like that's what the O1's for.
And it's usually like a time-based thing. So whatever jobs you have lined up for the future is like the length of your O1, which can be a little tricky getting like a job that's because they're usually up to 3 years. So it's a little tricky to get like a job in 2027.
Right. Yeah.
So that's the tricky part, I think. But yeah, you have to prove like that you had articles written about your work and like stuff that was in like decent festivals that you worked on and stuff like that. Unless you like won an Academy Award, in which case they're like, okay.
They can just Google your name and a Wikipedia page pops up.
So how did you get yours?
It was like a combination of all those things.
Okay,
articles about, which, it's not, you don't usually get a lot of articles written about you when you're like in editing. I feel like that's a lot what directors like seek out. They need that kind of exposure, where I feel like when you're doing editing or assistant editing, like that's not the way you like try to get work.
Right. Yeah.
So, but obviously that was part of it. And having, I had to wait a little to apply because I had a lot of shorts I had worked on during USC and outside of USC that were kind of going into the festival circuit. So I kind of had to wait, like, are these going to do well? Am I going to have, because otherwise I had like MasterChef was a good credit to have, but I also needed like some more current ones because I'd been at USC for 3 years. So that was why I kind of got started a little late with my application. And then as Michael said, I my OPT extension on my student visa expired in January of 2023. And then I didn't have my my O1 yet. It was still it was just getting sent off, and you have to get union approval too. They have to contact the editors union to say they sound like they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so it's a lengthy process. And so I ended up waiting until May before I heard back. And in that time, I had chosen to do a transfer of visa so I could stay here. So I could stay in the States, but I wasn't allowed to work during that time, which was tricky because I didn't have a huge savings or anything. So I was just okay, not allowed to work. But then thankfully I got it in May of this past year, which was huge.
Wow. Yeah, that is huge.
Yeah, I was in Nashville and I get a call from our producer from Michael Mann where Marie and I are working. And I'm like, hey, what's up? And she's like, hey, can you come back? And I'm on this road trip across the United States.
Yeah.
And I was like, why? And she's like, Marie's visa ran out and we need someone to come back.
My God.
And I was on my way back to Los Angeles at that point. I'm like, okay, but I was like, I can come back I'm in Nashville right now in my car, so I have to drive back.
Oh
but
my
I
God.
can come back. And then once you got your O1, we swapped again. So you came back.
Yeah, I came back to help out.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's where we met. And I know you have a film that's going to Sundance.
Yes.
Which is amazing, and I want to chat with you about that. But before we get there, I want to chat about, I think for anybody listening, I've worked on a European film once, and I found that experience really interesting. It's a very different work culture and very different process. Now, this was in Ireland. This wasn't in Denmark, but I'm curious how you find, having worked in U.S. cutting rooms, how those compare to those in the EU.
It's tough because I feel like at this point, like, so much more of my experience has been like over here.
Yeah. But you spent a year and a half.
I did. I think I haven't really worked on any, like when I was on MasterChef, it was very chill, even though I was the only AE and I was pretty busy all the time. I was like doing the trailers that they, like the little commercials, and I was doing like all the QC, and like somehow it was just like a well-oiled machine. So I was able to do all of it.
You just kind of like jumped into,
But I didn't, I wasn't editing, so I didn't like go in the cutting room much. We had 4 editors, and I was just like hanging out with them and helping them out with whatever they needed.
But I mean, even just saying it's chill, that's like an indicator. Like that, what I would also say that's like primary. My experience was
different.
Like way chiller. I mean, just the mood is a lot more laid back.
I think people are very like, this is entertainment, and we should have fun doing it.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like when we have a lot of company parties in Denmark. So the company I work with, we like love, it's a party culture.
company parties.
So we'd have like a Christmas party every year. There'd be like a summer party, and any time it was like a Friday where there would be a party that night, like there was no work being done in the MasterChef like area. We were all just like, I was excited for tonight. And like one day, like one of them opened up like a little impromptu like nail salon. She was like, come down if you want your nails painted for tonight.
Wow.
So that tells you how we were just like chilling.
Wow.
Our main producer was Swedish, and he was also super chill. It was a lot of fun. I feel like there was never like anyone making you feel like you weren't doing your job right, which I feel like I have experienced here. And like there was not really any tension. I feel like, I mean, sometimes someone would have a bad day and you would just know and be like a little nicer, or like a little more chill, but it would never be taken out on other people. And like I feel like in the experience I've had like in actual jobs working as an AE over here, I've seen my fair share of like tension. So that's definitely different. I'm sure
wonder if
there's
that says anything, not really says anything, but like just the difference in general about the culture in Denmark versus the US. Like even if you're not working, usually, if someone's like stressed, they might take it out on people. But
I also think
Denmark, it sounds like they just don't.
I think the main difference probably that like contributes to that is like work-life balance is like an absolute like must in Denmark. And like we have like the 36 or 38 hour work week is like the standard. And I think even in like production, it's like expected that you can leave work at like 5 or 6 p.m. and go home and be with your family.
My like define one of the things I remember, it was a post facility in France. It wasn't in Paris, but we were working in Ireland, and we were sending a bunch of stuff to a sound facility in France somewhere. And I remember I sent them an email sent them a bunch of, I sent them like turnovers and a bunch of emails at like 8 or 9 o'clock, just being like, oh, they're just going to see this stuff in the morning or whatever. And then I did this for like a week and a half. Like, this is very normal. Like, you just send stuff. I'll send stuff at 1 a.m. in the morning if that's when I get it done. Right.
Well,
whatever. A few weeks of this go by, the post producer calls me and is like, hey, we need to have a talk. And I was like, whoa, what's up? And she's like, you are really stressing out the AEs over here.
Oh my God.
Because you're sending emails and doing a lot of work correspondence outside of work hours. And like, that's not acceptable. And like, you need to set boundaries with our team here and like understand that like, this is not appropriate behavior. And I was like, I was for one flabbergasted, but then also like, I'm sorry. Like my apologies. Like, obviously didn't mean to do that, but I was like, in my mind, in the States, you just, all of a sudden you have a text at 2 a.m. in the morning, right? And I'm not expecting you to respond, but you know, you see it right when you wake up, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And for her, this was indicative of like, you guys need to chill the F out. This is like ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that's very European. I feel that way now too. Like if I get a text like really late about work, I like immediately my stress level goes up. And then I'm like, I'm not going to deal with this now. But even the fact that I just saw this is
Right.
like,
But
for us, that's so common. I get get turnovers sent. I mean, I'll send something to a sound facility.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll be working all night on it. And then I'll get an email at 5 a.m. in the morning or whatever, you know, knowing. And again, like, I'm just so used to it at this point of like, I see a work email come in at 11 o'clock and I go, okay, this is something for me to deal with tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
But, you know, I get that for other people, it's like, hey, that's like not chill. Like there's work hours and not work hours. And, you know.
I remember there was a project that I was on and loved the editor. He had said to us before we left for the weekend, it was like kind of my first time working with him. So he was like, oh, if I send you something, you don't have to look at it until Monday. I'm just like sending it to you to get it more like off my mind.
Yeah.
And so he sent us a few things over the weekend and we just responded like, cool, like we'll look at it, you know, like sounds good, we'll take a look. And he was like, I appreciate you responding, but do not respond to these on the weekends. Like, please do not. And I was like, okay, I won't.
Yeah. I get because he's like, I don't want to have a back and forth right now.
Yeah.
I'm teeing this up for Monday.
Which I get it. And I
no, but I'm the same way. I would
respond.
I would respond on a Saturday. Like if I have a free moment, if I have a free hour or something.
And it wouldn't be to like actually.
No, I'll do it from my phone. I'll be like out and about. Someone will ask a question on a Saturday. And I'll be like, oh, I have time. Blah, 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 blah.
But it wouldn't be to like actually answer a question or something. For me, it was always just like, oh, just to let you know, like I saw it. Like, cool, sounds good. Like respond with something. Yeah. But then even that, it was like, nope, just don't do anything.
Yeah. So you found our neuroticism, basically. You're like,
I mean, I think I also, I feel like
but she's also adopted the neuroticism.
You've adopted the U.S. neuroticism.
Yeah, I think so.
I think you have to. I don't think you can survive in Hollywood unless you don't adopt it a little bit.
No, I was definitely, when I visited home this past summer, my friend was like always leaving work at like 3 p.m. And I was like, what?
How are you getting anything done?
You can make plans in the evening and know that you can make it to those plans.
You were like, oh, do you want to, like, if you're around on Tuesday, we could get like drinks. We could do like after work at like 7 or 8. And she's like, I can get drinks at 4. What are you talking about? You're like, what?
Crazy.
If only.
But I will say, like, then there's other things. I feel like they don't have as strict like policies against like harassment and stuff at work in Denmark. Not that I have like been everything was always very nice at my job, but I think like some jokes that they would make in my office probably wouldn't fly.
I think in Hollywood, I came here post Me Too, but I've chatted with a lot of editors about pre Me Too, and it seems like I think that seemed to have been the case, basically the same as well prior to 20.
I mean,
when
it's
Me Too, 2018, 2017?
Best.
I don't remember. It could have been 2017 or 18.
Yeah,
like
I've chatted with a lot of editors and AEs who are like, I've said the same thing of like, well, people don't make crass jokes anymore, and people are like, not anymore, but like 10 years ago,
right?
100%.
Oh my God. No, I feel like there's a lot of rules about like work and
behavior,
personal connection, like at work over here, and like my friend, she's not in like film at all, but she had like some work retreat with her job in Denmark where they all had to like share very personal things in like a group forum. And it was like, we're all gonna get like closer. It was like a team building thing.
Absolutely not.
And and someone was like, I'm uncomfortable with this. I like to keep like work and personal things separate.
Yeah.
And they were all like, you know, it was like a whole thing that they and then she was like on a like what they were like, oh, if she just does one more thing, she's getting fired. This person it was kind of an insane situation.
Wow.
I've never heard of that before, but
neither have I.
I feel
well, I don't think I've ever really heard of a work retreat. Number one,
I have heard of.
You've heard of.
She works at like kind of a corporate situation, so they
do they have work retreats?
Absolutely do. We just suck.
It just shows.
We just work.
It just goes to show you how oblivious I am to the real world.
There's so much where I talk to people who don't work in film and they work like normal jobs. They just like work at a company, and they're like, my Christmas bonus this year was so small. And I'm like, you get a Christmas bonus? Like, it's that like, wait, that's a real, like learning that Christmas bonuses were a real thing and not like a narrative device used in movies. Like I always thought it was like a joke. No, like a lot of people in corporate life get Christmas bonuses. Like it's a very normal thing. But to pivot, when I was going to film school, I remember Sundance being like, there's like the big four or whatever, like film festivals, and Sundance is like one of them. And it was always like a dream of a lot of students to get their films into Sundance. So I wanted to ask with you, like, having done that, cutting a film that is now going to this, major accomplishment, what that was like. If you had any involvement in the film submission process, like what was that like? What was it like working with the director of a film like that? Everything like that.
Yeah. So the director of the film's called The Things We Keep. And it's a short that my best friend and roommate did for her thesis at USC.
Oh, so it was her MFA thesis.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is crazy. Yeah, we lived together, so the editing process was really chill. It was really nice. It's a horror film about like hoarding, so it's kind of interesting. It's like this daughter who goes back to her like old mother's home and is packing it up because her mom's going to like a home, and her mom's like, don't move my things. Bad things will happen. And as it turns out, bad things will actually happen if you move her stuff.
I love that concept.
So there's like something
It's
living
so
in the
cool.
wall, basically. Yeah, it was very ambitious. We always knew that I was going to edit her thesis. We'd worked together on like other things, but never as like our main thing. So I'd acted in like one of her things when we were living together and we were like COVID isolated. But this was the first time we got to do like our thing together. I was like at first worried, like, is this going to be, are we going to hate each other like after we start working together? Or is it going to be good? And it was good. I think the like downside of working with someone you're really close with is like the tangents that you go off on. And
The
you're,
wasting
like,
time.
Suddenly editing like a green screen thing of an alien set to like JoJo Siwa. That was one of our. You're like, let's do this. But I feel like we worked together really well, and we were able to put something together that we were really proud of. It had been, I think, a pretty tough process shooting and like prepping for the film. Her DP like ended up changing last minute. And so there was a lot of like stress going on.
God,
and so post was a lot of me trying to like remind her that like there's still a film here. Like, and there was, and it was, it was beautifully shot and like everything came together, but we didn't expect it to come together in like such a way that it would get into Sundance.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was a surprise. She ended up having to spend a semester longer at USC to finish it up because it has a lot of VFX.
Wow.
And they were taking some time. She had like a whole team working on it, which I remember telling you, Michael, and you were like, she has a whole team?
Yeah, I remember being like, what that? I do remember that.
She had a whole, she was doing CGI for the monster, like full CGI instead of like someone in a costume, which she kind of, I think, regretted a little, but it turned out really good. I did the mocap for the monster, like crawling.
Amazing.
Did you have to wear all the balls?
Yeah, I was wearing it. She was like, would you do that? And I was like, yeah, I took the mocap class when I was at USC, but I never really got to wear the suit because I was like, this is a humiliating thing to wear in front of the whole.
We did that. I did that for a film once at Chapman. We did a bunch of mocap, but it was like, it was my buddy in the suit, and then we had to film him doing it, and then we only rented the mocap suit, so we didn't have it. So, and we had to do all the way the timing of it worked out. Like we had to do the mocap before we did the edit. So I had all of this footage of my buddy in the suit that I had to cut into the scene and like put on top of it because he was doing the visual effects himself later. So it was like. And he plays this like goofy robot. And so this kid's talking to this goofy robot. And it's like my bearded man being like, I'm Buddy. And he's like 6'4" and he's got a big beard and in this ridiculous outfit.
Yeah, I basically had to like fall out of a wall. That was like this. She just wanted to give the VFX team like a reference of what the monster was supposed to be doing. So whether they fully used my mocap or just kind of used it as a reference, but I basically had to like fall off an apple box, and I'm not trained in like falling in a way that doesn't hurt me.
Oh no.
I had it wasn't that bad, but I definitely had a couple bruises afterwards, but it was worth it. It's fun to like watch it now and be like, that's me.
That's me.
Yeah, but we didn't. So when we cut it, we didn't use that like anything. We just basically sat with like the slate or like the background or whatever. And I was like, so how do you envision
Yeah.
this? Like, does it go in this corner? Does it go over
Right.
here? Like, because we just had reactions and then we had shots with nothing in it. And some like POV shots. And we were like, what if we had a foot here that like leaves frame in the corner and it's really
Right.
creepy. So it was a lot of that.
And how long was the film?
It's 14 minutes. It's like right
14
under
minutes.
15 with credits.
I feel like that's one of the things I learned really early at film school, and with chatting people who got into Slam Dance and Sundance, was like a lot of people will, and this was like a routine thing I would argue with back in film school with directors, was like they would want to make shorts that were like 25 minutes long. And I would tell them, like, if this is 25 minutes long, it's not going to program at any festival.
Yeah.
Like if it's, and they're like, no, but that's what the story needs. And I'm like, I understand what the story needs, but like your film is dead in the water the moment it's 25 minutes long.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the thing people forget.
USC, you don't forget that because they are like very like on your ass about like keeping it under 15 minutes, preferably. We have this class called 546 that like anyone who's gone to USC is like, ooh, 546. It's a thesis class, but it's different than like the thesis class that my friend did. The one she did is kind of free and you have to still pitch to it, but it's everyone does their own thesis kind of thing. 546 is like a bunch of scripts are selected from people who submitted their script. Then there's like a short list of scripts. There's a short list of directors, and then they pitch the script that they select.
I've heard about
to,
this
like,
pitching class. This is very infamous, this pitching thing.
Yeah, so she she wrote and like produced a film for that class. I wrote one that got made.
It's funny this class was called 546 because we had a class at Chapman called 321.
That's funny.
Which was 3 pages, 2 actors, 1 location.
Oh.
And that was like a whole class you had to take.
Yeah.
It was like every film production student had to do it. Interesting to see all the different variations on that one simple idea. But
But yeah, that class is intense. I don't know where I was going with it.
no.
No, we were just asking about the Sundance.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I think that's an
Yeah.
aspiration, especially with a lot of editors. They cut shorts. A lot of us cut shorts a lot of times in our off hours in between features or on a feature or anything like that. I think it's always kind of the aspiration of everybody to get into a TIFF or a Sundance or a Venice or a Cannes or whatever, right? Like, these are the lofty aspirational goals, a lot of which can jumpstart a lot of editors' careers. There's a lot of directors, especially that are, rising stars nowadays that, they got their start in large part because they won the grand jury prize or the audience prize at Sundance or Slam Dance or whatever, Jim Cummings or even the Daniels, right? Like a lot of them come up through this process. So, and then they bring their editors along with them. And, you kind of see these burgeoning relationships start because of that. So.
Yeah, I never had, not to say anything bad about Sundance because it's insane. Like I don't think it was even on my radar. I was like, I'm not going to work on something that's going to go to Sundance.
Yeah.
But I was always like, because I lived in Austin for a semester, I went to South by Southwest. When I was there. So that was always like a dream to have something get into that, or Fantastic Fest, which is also in Austin. Because this is a horror, and like all the other thesis films I cut are horror. So that's kind of been my thing. I like cut a lot of horror. And so getting into
It's also interesting because I don't feel like you see a lot of horror at Sundance.
So it's like, it was never really on I was like, oh, we're going to get into like the Telluride horror show. Or the
all the horror
genre
festivals and all that. Yeah.
But we are in the Midnight Shorts program. So like, I think finding that out after we got in was like really exciting for me because I always, that's like my favorite part of any festival. So I was like, it's
awesome.
Midnight.
Yeah.
So at first we thought it was like fully like we were being scammed. My roommate called me and she was like, I don't know if this is real. I'm just going to like respond like, yes, we want to be in the festival, but I don't know if I'm being scammed. Like this is insane. But it was real. And so
it's crazy. Yeah.
Really exciting. And I'm getting to go. She was like, yeah, you can have one of the like, because I was like, I can't afford to go.
Yeah.
You get one of the filmmaker passes.
Yeah, they give you 5 when you're on a short film. So it's like, it was a little tough dividing between like all the producers who wanted to go.
Of course they wanted to go.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go, and they have like an editing event there that I get to go to, which is nice. Hope to talk to a bunch of editors and like see where that takes me. But I'm a little nervous about like all the networking that I'm obviously going to have to
a
do.
blast. Just go have fun.
Have fun.
It's
Talk
such a
to
cool
people
thing.
if you want. You
You
know.
can report back. You can let us know how it goes.
Yeah.
Any last words? Famous last words?
Go watch The Things We Keep.
Yeah, go
The Things
watch
We Keep?
The Things We Keep. Yeah.
Go watch The Things We Keep if you're at Sundance.
There's a film there also called The Things We Kill. That's not the film I edited.
The Things We Keep.
It looks like a good one, but it's in the features. This is a short. So.
All right. Well, thank you, Marie, for coming and being on our pod. And thanks, everyone, for listening to this episode of Sips and Clips. We'll catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Sips and Clips is a podcast produced by Leanne McFalls and Michael Schusterman. Graphic by Max Schulman. Sound mixing by Cassidy Legan. Sound editing by Zach Griffin. Follow us on Instagram at Sips and Clips Pod. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe.